excited to speak a little bit about pork and some of the success that we've seen over the last year. If you could advance to the next slide. So there is some great news for pork and meat overall. In the pandemic, we know that the way that consumers cook, shop, and eat all changed, and that was great news for pork. As you'll see here, all of meat was up 13.4% through the pandemic period. So that is from March 8th through 12/27. And pork pounds were up 15%, edging out turkey and chicken, and just behind beef. So we had some really strong performance. And as you'll see on the next slide, we made it into more households. People were buying it more frequently. There were higher spends per trip, and the basket ring, when pork was in the basket, was higher for retailers. We also know that pork made it into much younger households and made it into consumers' mouths. So Gen Z and millennials were buying and consuming a lot more pork than previously. On the next slide, you'll see that COVID really did change and reshape the way consumers interact with products, and it in particular impacted fresh. Major factors that were top of mind were things being home-centered with stay-at-home orders. People were forced into their homes and forced to cook 3 meals a day. They were looking for engagement in the community. There was a lot of economic uncertainty with people being furloughed, losing jobs, and just not sure how long the pandemic would last. That really created new needs and new behaviors. And all of that boils down to cooking at home more, looking for balanced meals, seeking trust in the people and the products they buy, stretching their dollars, and looking for some convenience-driven innovation in products. On the next slide, you'll see that consumers were craving meat, and they were craving different cuts. With cooking 3 meals a day, they were looking for variety and different meals to put in front of their families. A year later, they're still buying more meat. 43% of shoppers are still purchasing more meat and more cuts than they did previously. On the next slide, thank you. And you'll see pork is winning with consumers. So we're winning on a lot of factors. Bacon and ham really rise to the top for taste good. Good for me and my family really resonates as we think about ham and pork chops. Tenderloin is ranking high for easy prep, and pork chops and bacon are doing very, very well on routine and versatile. So we've got a lot of winning cuts and a lot of loyalty with consumers. And on the next slide, you'll see what we expect for trends in 2021. So as we think about some of these newfound skills and cooking at home, we think that will continue, but we know that people will look to food service and restaurants for healthful eating, comfort foods, spicy foods and flavors, as well as global foods and flavors. So as we think about balancing their newfound skills and returning to dining out, these are the things that we can leverage both in our consumer marketing, in our retail sales, and at store level, and within food service on menus. And Neal's going to talk a little bit more about some of the recent wins we've had for pork, both in retail and food service. Over to you, Neal.
Thanks, Kiersten. And it's certainly a pleasure to join you today and represent some of the great work that your channel team is doing here at the Pork Checkoff. So we'll start with food service, because really what 55% of consumers are saying is they are ready to return to restaurants. So as you think about stay-at-home orders starting to ease, there's the vaccines continue to roll out. There's this pent-up demand to really go out to restaurants. And I wanted to highlight one today, which launched last week, and it's a promotion with IHOP, and it's really bigger than bacon. So we started working with IHOP in 2019 in really support of the food service industry, which helped to inform them of the launch that they did last week. And it's really called their Bacon Obsession menu. So they've got a new bacon that's 5 times thicker than traditional bacon. So they've got that offering. They're offering a steakhouse premium BLT. They've got candied bacon pancakes, and you've got a bacon maple milkshake. And what you'll see there on the slide is the iconic blue pork logo is throughout all of their promotional materials, both in the restaurant, online, and all of their social communications. Next slide. And really, their VP of culinary and R&D said, we want to own the bacon category. Bacon is our French fries. 50% of our customers order bacon, so we're taking it to the next level. We, for a long time, have owned the breakfast segment with bacon, but really the awesome part with what IHOP is doing is they're taking bacon beyond just breakfast and adding it to other day parts. And you see the quote there on the screen from their senior manager of brand marketing that says, we are so grateful to have the Pork Board as a partner and are excited for what's to come over the next few weeks. And early indications are they're getting lots of media, they're getting lots of consumer support, and we're excited about what not only this promotion will do, but with the relationship that we're building with them down the road. On the next slide, you'll see a promotion that we did in January with Sam's Club. This was a nationwide promotion where we partnered with Kinder's Seasoning. And the pandemic kind of changed how the clubs, traditionally you would go in and they would be sampling product. They converted to a digital demo program where the shopper would go in, there was a display with a QR code. You would scan that display with your smartphone and it would come up with this real simple, easy boneless chop recipe. And then you could add those items to your cart. It was a really overwhelming success with Sam's Club. 61 of the consumers that were purchasing did not purchase boneless chops at Sam's Club the prior 4 months. And they saw a 42% growth in sales in both volume and dollars compared to the prior 4-week average. So again, one of those ideas where as people had cooking fatigue, we were trying to make pork more approachable so they could take it home and prepare a really delicious meal. On the next slide, we've talked a lot about ground pork, and this is one item that really we saw sales surge during the pandemic. We got into a lot of households, we got into a lot of younger households, and really 45% of the households purchasing during the pandemic hadn't purchased ground pork in the prior 12 months. So we really want to capitalize on that and create that stickiness with those new consumers and provide mealtime inspiration. You'll see there's 3 recipe labels and really trying to give that consumer cues at the meat shelf or at the meat case, right? Meals in 25 minutes or less, easy appetizers, or recipes inside. And currently, these labels are in market in the Northeast, Southeast, and West in over 1,700 stores. And I will tell you that number will continue to grow as we continue to give the consumer the reason to pick up ground pork versus some of the options in the ground case. On the next slide, we've been working with EG America. They are a national convenience store chain. They have 1,800 stores, and we were working with them really pre-pandemic and working on this new breakfast sandwich called the Big Pig. Unfortunately, with the onset of the pandemic, that got put on hold until late last year, and they launched that sandwich as a limited time offering. But it was so successful that they have decided, effective April 1st, it became a full-time menu item. And I will say the exciting part about that sandwich is it has 9 ounces of pork on it between bacon, sausage, and ham. In addition to that, that relationship led into discussions around new breakfast pizzas that they launched on April 1st as well. So they've got 2 new breakfast pizzas that include bacon and sausage. And really, they're expanding their lunch and dinner offerings as well. What you're seeing with convenience stores is the ones that are being successful are moving more and more towards food service. They're not making as much money selling cigarettes and gas as they used to. So they're focused on food and that easy grab and go, which during the pandemic was really a sweet spot for the convenience store segment, because as people were looking for variety in their meal routine, it was really easy to pop into a convenience store. And then I wanted to highlight just a few things that are coming soon. In Quiznos, we've partnered with them on a promotion that we're running Q4, and they're launching a sandwich called the Smiling Pig. It'll have smoked pork loin, ham, and bacon on it, and we're really excited about what that offering will bring on their stores nationwide. Dickey's Barbecue Pit, we've been working with them. We did some menu ideation sessions, and this year is their 80th anniversary, and they wanted something that would really highlight and take to the next level what they're currently doing. So what you will see at Dickey's starting on May 3rd is they're going to offer a premium build on a pulled pork sandwich. So it's going to be a King's Hawaiian bun, Dr. Pepper barbecue sauce. They're based out of Texas, so Dr. Pepper's big down there, and really a premium offering where they can trade up consumers to that new menu item. And then last, I just wanted to touch base on 4 new items that will launch in Target effective the first part of May. There will be 4 new raw or fresh pork chop items launched at Target. And the best news for us and producers is that they will be the first items at Target in the fresh pork case that have proper cook temperature messaging. So on the back of the labels, it clearly states cooked to 145 with a 3-minute rest, which is really where we spend a lot of time with our retail partners on that consumer education side. So we're excited about what's happening in the channel. We're excited that food service is starting to gain a little momentum and coming back, and just excited to continue to represent you each and every day out in the marketplace.